89% of people globally want more climate action. We know this from a 2024 study of 130,000 people across 125 countries. And if you are one of the 89%, you've probably wondered what simple, practical changes you can make to reduce your carbon footprint. And ideally ones that are easy and free. So let me share a story about a father and son, Dave and Jack. Together, they reduced their emissions by 5% overnight, thanks to one small dietary change that cost them nothing. And because it's so easy, it's something you can share with your family and friends, because most people can make the same change straight away. I'm Victor. I spent 15 years analyzing insurance and risk data, and now I break down climate data to show which personal change makes the biggest difference. If you want more clear, data-driven videos like this, feel free to subscribe. It really helps. Dave and Jack, they want more climate action. They are part of the 89%. But they are frustrated. After decades of conferences and promises, emissions are still going up every year. And to stop climate change, we need to reduce and eventually stop new emissions, and to remove the historical emissions already in the atmosphere. We're not doing either of those things fast enough. So Dave and Jack asked a simple question: what can we do as individuals right now? Before discussing their ideas, they agreed this wasn't about guilt. It was about agency, curiosity, and looking for quick wins. Because similar to sports or other hobbies, small, consistent improvements, even 5%, add up quickly. At their weekly dinner, Dave and Jack discussed their options. Jack's idea number one was to reduce driving. Transport is one of the 4 big emission categories, along with diet, home energy, and other general consumption. Jack drives 27 miles to his Saturday football trainings, and cycling instead would save about 1,400 miles a year, which is about half a ton of CO2, or roughly 5% of his footprint. His idea number 2 was to try and become a vegan. He liked the idea it would cut his footprint by more than 10%, but he wasn't sure he would stick to it long term. Most of his friends, who for example tried veganuary, didn't. So they moved on, and it was Dave's turn. Dave's first idea was to install solar panels. Dave liked the idea of making clean power at home, but he needed more time to explore his options. Not something he could do overnight, definitely not a quick win. Now, his option number 2 was to also make a change to his diet. But instead he asked, which foods create the most emissions? If one swap could make a meaningful difference, that felt like the best place to start. He looked at the numbers, and one food stood out: red meat. Dave showed Jack what he'd found. According to DEFRA and the Agriculture and the Horticulture Development Board, UK agriculture creates around 12% of total emissions. Beef and lamb produce 5 to 10 times more emissions than pork or poultry. So red meat alone accounts for half of all agriculture emissions, or about 5% of total UK emissions. And the benefits, they don't stop there. Beef and lamb also require 20 to 30 times more land than poultry, pork, or vegetarian options. Less beef means more land for nature. A typical person replacing red meat frees up a football pitch worth of land for rewilding. If everyone in the UK made that swap, we'd release more land for rewilding than the size of the UK itself. That's when Dave and Jack decided to try this change. They both replaced most of their red meat with poultry, which has far lower emissions. And Jack took it even further. He's experimenting with simple vegetarian meals like lentil pasta, bean chili, and veggie burgers. These swaps were quick. They were cheap, and together they cut about 5% of their footprint almost instantly. And this is the important part. This is something that millions of people can do. If you'd like to check how much CO2 you could save by replacing red meat yourself, you can try the free Replace Red Meat calculator on Fernall.com. Compare it with driving less or installing solar panels. For many people, replacing red meat is the easiest high-impact change they can make today. And if you know someone who eats meat, you can share this with them too. These small changes They spread fast when people understand the impact. And if you want to understand how your lifestyle fits into the bigger picture and why the top 1% emit so much, my previous video captures 3 real UK lifestyles. And the shocking part, even if you install solar panels and drive an electric vehicle, a handful of business class flights create more emissions than both of those changes can save. That video is linked on the screen. See you next time.